Welcome to the Danette May Show, everybody. I am so excited because today we have Jessica Zweig on, and she is a three-time serial entrepreneur. She's a founder, a two-times best-selling author, and a podcast host of Spiritual Hustler. And I know you're thinking that is a lot of things, but today we really talk about how you can go from burnout operating in the old system and how she actually did and what she did to change her life, change her businesses, the frequency she holds, and the enjoyment that she lives. And she's here to empower women to really step into their empowerment, their sovereignty, and through business, how to make more money, to make big impact in the world. I'm excited to dive in with this episode with all of you. Let's dive right in. Welcome to the Danette May Show, where you'll receive profound breakthroughs, courage to break old patterns, and live into your soul's purpose. Each week, I will bring you epic guests and live coaching to remind you of your power. You have the ability to achieve extraordinary things, and the time to start is now.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to meet.
Nice to meet you too. We have many mutual friends in common.
Yeah, I feel like your name got dropped a couple of times in Mexico when I was there. And then I was with my girlfriend in Aspen and she name dropped your name. And I was like, wait, I think that's the same girl that keeps being told to me in Mexico. I'm like, I'm gonna reach out to her.
Oh,
I just like to make this very casual. If we
yeah.
were just sitting down and we knew that we weren't recording, what would we talk about,
I
honestly?
love it. Me too.
Because obviously I can go to your website and I can go, who's Jessica? But really, I think there's stories that your website can't tell. And I want to know because I think we both, I don't know you, but I can tell I know you, that we're in a new era. Like we are honestly on the precipice of humanity being completely different. What is swirling inside of you right now? What are you feeling right now in your own private
Mm.
sanctuary?
I feel like you're absolutely accurate. I feel like we're on a precipice of a huge collective consciousness shift in humanity. And it's a really important and really exciting time to be here. And that what's really driving me and my North Star is really helping women step into their worthiness and their wealth, not in the old paradigm way of let's be rich bitches and buy nice bags. No. When women hold wealth, women hold power. Those two things are conjoined in this 3D reality, whether we like that or not. And if we were at the helm of countries and we were at the helm of corporations and we were at the helm of government and institutions and spiritual institutions, we would be living in a different world. And I think that it's not about erasing the masculine at all. I think the masculine is so important and divine, both in women and in men. But we've just been so out of alignment and out of balance with those two polarities. And so my work, because I'm a woman, because I've dealt with my own dark nights of the soul, by getting hooked into the patriarchal toxic masculine paradigm and have woken up from that, I'm really here to say to women, like, this is bigger than what we've even been told up until this point, that what is in our DNA, as far as the matriarchal goddess cultures of eons before the patriarchy was written, is still inside of us. We've just been sleeping to it. My mentor, her name is Saren Bertrand, talks about the structural feminine, where we're really moving away from the flowing magnetism, surrender, allowance frequencies of the feminine, which are so beautiful and healing and have helped to restore, I think, a lot of us who are doing this work, but are really being called now to bridge masculine power in our own feminine way, where we're creating businesses and systems and organizations to scale as business leaders, as women who are in our wealth and in our worth to truly change the world. We can't just sit around all day and be in our creative beauty and allowance and expect the world to move forward. So that's really what I am here for, is why I think I've incarnated. I'm also Palladian, so I know that I've been sent here on a very specific mission to bring more light into the world more than anything, but to really do it through the power of sisterhood. And that's really what gets me up in the morning every day and what's at the top of my soul in every moment.
That's amazing. So obviously I can relate. I have three different businesses. It sounds like you're a serial entrepreneur and you really like to speak to that vein with empowering women. Tell
Yeah.
me how you were operating before when it came to business
Mhm.
and how you operate now, because I think we need to speak to the exactness of this. And I can too. People have asked me a lot about how I've done it and maintained, I'm like, I employ the men. Just kidding. I know how to make them work. No, just kidding. But I'm curious what you were facing off with as an entrepreneur before and how you've shifted that.
Yeah, such a good question. So, I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm on my third business. My first business, I scaled it and failed it. The second business, I scaled it and sold it. And now I'm here in business three and I'm here to scale it and sustain it and to live my
Ooh,
life.
interesting. Scale and sustain it.
Yeah, I am building a big business, but it's not running my life.
Exactly.
It's fueling my life. And so it's important to note at the scale it to fail it apex of my journey, I went broke. I went actually bottom out, financially destitute at 33. And that
Whoa.
it's a big part of my story. And found myself asking my parents at 33 years old to help me pay a phone bill that AT&T was going to shut off. It was really dark times. And what happened in that moment, I didn't really realize it until later, was that left obviously a trauma response in my body. Going truly broke is terrifying, and you have a real PTSD impact in your somatic body.
Absolutely.
So, what ended up happening was I took a corporate job for 2 years, paid off some debt, licked my wounds, as I often say, and started again. And in my second business that I scaled to exit, I sold my business after running it for 7 years. It kicked ass from day one. I was like rocket ship, like full on hockey stick, like year over year, quarter over quarter, just growing. And I'm like, I'm a rich bitch now. That's what I could tell myself, making millions of dollars running that business. Took it further and farther than I ever thought I would. I did not really have those big ambitions to scale it, to sell it. I just wanted to work for myself again.
Yeah.
And it was lightning in a bottle. I started a personal branding agency in 2017, the beginning of that year, when it felt like the whole world all of a sudden decided they should get on social media.
Yeah,
This was like
totally.
the Gary Vaynerchuk era,
Yeah.
when all of a sudden everyone was talking about social, when I had been on it since 2008 and was really here to help people get online and market themselves authentically. And it took off. But what happened was, because I was unhealed, because I wasn't rooted, because I had been responding to scarcity versus really embracing abundance, I sent myself straight into burnout. And burnout is a term that we use a lot. And I do believe that there are spectrums of burnout. And I had burnt myself out a lot during those first like 5.5 years of running and scaling that agency. But in 2022, I crashed. And when I say I crashed, I prided myself on being a sprinter. I was like, I can sprint really hard for a quarter or half a year and then take my vacation. And this was one particular sprint that I just could not, I'm just like,
Sustain.
I couldn't pick myself up off the floor. So my burnout was diagnosed as depression. I couldn't leave my house for almost 3 months. I didn't have the energy to shower for weeks at a time. I didn't socialize. I literally had run my body into the ground. I was fully mentally, emotionally, and physically depleted. And my brain shut down because I was working 100-hour work weeks, holding up a $300,000 monthly payroll, firing, hiring, bringing in the clients, doing the podcast, promoting my first book, being on airplanes, speaking, trying to have a marriage, trying to take care of my health, trying to have friendships. And it was really a dark mountain climb. And I look back and it's ironic because at that moment when I had hit that crash, I was actually at the peak of my career.
Wow.
From the outside in, I had this massive team, this massive business, this beautiful, sparkling office loft, 5,000 square foot space in Chicago, working with clients like Chobani and Miller Coors and Robert Half and Google and Pinterest. And I wanted to burn my whole business down inside. I've always been on the spiritual path. I grew up talking to angels when I was 5 years old. Like I've always been quantum to the other side. But it really kicked in my 30s. And I went to Egypt, and that's how I met Joey at the end of 22. I'd planned that trip a year in advance, not knowing at all how I would feel when I got on that airplane and flew to Egypt, 15-day spiritual pilgrimage, and I died in that country. I had a full-on ego death and came back a completely different version of I got activated in those temples. I had full-on light body messages come in from the Palladians. I heard all of the goddesses, Isis, Sekhmet, and Hathor, speak to me. My DNA upgraded into crystalline. I healed ancestral lineages of trauma, and I came back a different person. I actually almost got a divorce because my husband was like, "Who are you?" It was really wild what happened after that trip.
You were so changed that you couldn't, you know how like we have these like we go to an event or we read a book or we have this like profound healing experience and we're like, I'm changed forever. But then the human side of us goes back to these older, we start to pattern out of these, but you were saying like I could not go back. Like there I was completely dead. Like that old version of me died. Did you
Yes.
find patterns try to come back up as a human or no?
Yes, really interesting question. So let me answer it this way.
Yeah.
What happened to me in Egypt was so significant that I was physically unable to work at the pace I had done before. That same junction, I started working with a very significant coach and spiritual teacher and healer in my life who I still work with today. And she really revealed to me on many levels just how I had been operating out of my body, not rooted into Gaia, not really aligning my life to the life code principles, and that I was deeply hooked into the matrix.
Yeah.
And so that trip really jolted me, the matrix, but I still had to come back to my life. And I remember having one conversation with her where I actually was really mad at her because I was changing my beliefs, I was changing my habits, my choices, my way of operating. And things in my life started to fall apart. What was really happening was they were reorganizing.
Yeah.
And I remember calling my coach up and being like, "What the fuck are you doing to me? What is happening? This isn't working anymore. This feels really awful now. It didn't before." She said, "This is what happens when you make new agreements to Gaia and you unhook from the matrix. When you really commit your life to the natural order of what this planetary being, Gaia, has called you here to really do, things are going to fall apart. That's you made this commitment. You unhooked yourself from the matrix. And now this is what's happening. While it feels like it's all dissolving, it is in fact rebirthing. And I would say that the last 2.5 years coming home from Egypt has really been the integration, the true ceremony. If I look back, Egypt was the doorway. It was 15 days of my life. But in totality, I have moved cities. I have sold my company. I have completely healed my nervous system and my autoimmune disorder. I have really, truly have stepped into the greatest phase of my 13-year relationship with my husband. I have no toxic women in my life. I wake up every day and I feel blessed. I get to do what I get to do. I don't have to do what I do. I get to do it. I'm fully locked in now, Danette, that this is possible to live in alignment with your feminine frequency, to trust in life itself, that life has a better plan for you than you have for it, to thrive, to prosper, to enjoy your life, to have pleasure and bliss be a baseline. That's actually not some fantasy on Instagram of some like pretty girl and her memes telling you the divine feminine is rising. No, this is actually possible. This is reality. And you can really create this in your life. I should say, co-create this with your life with this true intention and belief. I've touched it. Now I live it now. And so that's really what I'm committed to in my work and how Every day it feels like a revelation. Oh, I don't have to burn out and I don't have to kill myself and I don't have to be on 24/7. I don't have to grip. I don't have to prove. I can just be, and life itself gets better.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm really here to hopefully, I say, bring the 5D into the 3D because the 5D is here. The new earth is here. How we started this conversation, it has arrived. It's about to explode. And I think that the people like you and I, and probably the people who listen to your show, are already on this train and are going to be the stewards of this moment in
Mhm.
humanity. And just like I said, it's a deep responsibility and at the same time, such a deep excitement.
Yeah, it is a deep excitement. And it feels how I describe it a little bit is, you know how if you were to walk into different people's homes, some homes just feel like comforting, like the smell of baked cookies and it just it's your vibe. It feels like we're entering into that. And I'm like, I can smell the baked cookies. And I'm like, oh, this feels so good. I feel like I belong. It's like the first time I have felt more like I belong than I ever have. I don't know if you feel that too, but
I do. It's really interesting. I'm a starseed
for sure.
and definitely not from here and have struggled most of my life fitting in. I didn't have a big group of girlfriends in high school. I was never a part of a clique. I was bullied. I was in Chicago for a while, couldn't stand being there. I looked all over. The only place I've ever felt truly at home on the planet is Costa Rica and Nashville, which is where I'm living right now. But I used to want to get the fuck out of here. And I would do all the things that would allow me to escape, whether that was plant medicine, meditation, traveling. Just, I don't like planet Earth. It's not fun. And now I'm like so clear. It's the most fucking amazing place to
Amazing place to
be.
be.
And I'm affirmed by meeting people like you and having conversations like this. How we've all come here together and we get to link arms and we get to play the game together.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I want to ask you about Costa Rica because I've never actually been to Nashville, and I hold something in similar with you in the fact that I'm building a place in Costa Rica. I feel so at home in Costa Rica. So I'm curious what that is for you. Why Costa Rica, do you think?
Gosh, I just got the chills. So I went to Costa Rica for the first time in 2017. I've since been back like 8 or 9 times.
That was my first place too.
Yeah. It was my first year of running my business. I was burning out like at the baby stages. And I'm like, I want to take a solo trip. And I'd never taken a solo vacation like that before. And I decided I want to go to Costa Rica. I'd been there once with girlfriends actually earlier in my 20s and I loved it. But I was like, I want to go back and didn't know at all where I was going to go. I didn't want to do like a yoga retreat, but I wanted to go to a hotel that had good yoga. So I
Yep.
Googled best
You,
yoga. It found me. I landed at Bodhi Tree
yep.
and I was there for 6 days by myself. I read Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. I meditated twice a day. I did yoga twice a day by myself. And I had what could be identified as an existential crisis. Like I tapped into Gaia, the jungle, like the frequencies there. And I came back to Chicago, like this concrete jungle where I was living. I fell into a small depression for a month after that because I
Yeah.
was this, and it was almost like I had found my great love affair and I longed for it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we even say the same words. I always say I feel like I'm going to visit my boyfriend. It feels like a
That's
lover.
lover. That's right. Costa Rica feels like my
Like a
lover.
lover.
Yes.
Yeah. I always say that I'm like, I'm getting ready for my lover. Like I want to put on the right clothes for this lover. I want to like move for this lover. It's wild.
I'm a different version of myself with that lover.
Yeah. Exactly.
I wrote both of my books there. I took a month-long
Wow. Okay.
sabbatical. I spent a month in Nosara for my first book, B, and I spent a month in Uvita for my second book, The Light Work. Yeah.
And Uvita, that's where I'm building my home is Uvita.
Love
This
Uvita.
is so wild.
Wow,
We
to come
have
back
that in
to it.
common.
Yeah. Costa Rica is a dream. I'm building a house myself. And let me say this about Nashville. So I found Nashville with my husband. We were looking at properties like houses to buy, couldn't find anything. We stumbled upon this Airbnb that we ended up just renting because we wanted to be here, but we weren't going to buy yet in this like southwest area of Nashville, like 20 minutes southwest of the city. And we fell in love with it. It was like rolling hills, farmlands, forest. And our landlord of that Airbnb had tipped us off. I saw a lot for sale for 5 acres down the street. we had no intention of building a house. And I got the listing. My husband was out of town. I went by myself and I drove to this lot. And it's up like it's there's not mountains here, but there's high rolling hills. It's all lush, it's all green. And I remember driving up. This was the very first time I visited where I'm building my house. And I remember feeling like I was in Costa Rica,
Whoa.
like the green, the lush. It's not jungle, but it's thick forest. And I get to the top. We're building a house on the top of a ridge. And I got out of my car and my whole body knew that this was, I don't even like to say my land because I'm not, I think it's Gaia. It's we're stewarding it.
Yes.
Yes. But I really felt in my body like this is where I'm meant to live. I'm meant to grid this land. I'm meant to call in sacred people and hold ceremony on this land. And
I
so
think the land wanted to hold you on it.
it did. I can't wait. It's literally a sanctuary in the woods.
So you're building on it right now.
Yeah, it'll be done in 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get to experience that.
My vision is to call in light worker women and have beautiful experiences there.
Wow, that's beautiful. I'll have you to my place in Uvita because that's the
Yes,
same vision. It called me forward and it'll be done in a few months. So that's really
congratulations.
wild. We're on a similar journey for sure.
Well, you
That's
can come on
awesome.
my podcast and you'll
Yeah.
see. I'm hosting
Yeah.
it. I built a podcast studio there.
That is
Uh,
incredible. That's amazing. Wow, I really love this and it's really fascinating. You use the word Gaia, which is so beautiful, and I have this huge connection to Mother Earth, and I sense that this is the way, and how we treat her is how we're treating the feminine of the planet. And there's a direct correlation for both. And abundance. I actually just was talking about that, about increasing. We all talk about how we want to increase our abundance. And I'm like, treat Mother Earth well, like love on her, honor her, and you will get it back. Like you can go back to those basics and just think about that and start operating like that, and abundance will come. And I really believe that. And I've watched it in my life and other people's lives. But I want to ask you because you're fascinating. Like you've lived all these different dimensions on this earth plane of business and relationship and going to Egypt and honoring yourself. And so, how does your, and I'm not saying as I ask this question that every woman or person listening needs to follow your rhythm, but how is your rhythm? Like, I would ask this as a friend. I'd be like, what is your rhythm during the day? What does that look like now for you?
um,
Running a business, being a wife, being friend, like, how does that rhythm look?
I love you use the word rhythm because that's really the frequency I attune to. I'm very connected to my moon cycle. I really operate, I try and design my life, my schedule, my travels around my follicular ovulation and luteal and menstrual stages if I can. I'm very tuned into the seasons. I feel like overarchingly, I don't follow the Gregorian January 1st calendar. Like this is my new year right now, spring equinox. I really honor the solstices, the winter and this summer. The pagan calendar has really always spoken to me. So I feel like if we can really get our micro body cycled into the macro Mother Gaia cycle, we're instantly going to be more grounded and calibrated in our nervous systems. On a daily basis, I start my days at 10. I don't start my days before. I'm very religious about my calendar. I time block. Mondays are internal meetings, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays are podcast days and coaching calls, content creation. Fridays are no meetings at all. I try and work a 4-day work week. I get what I need to do done on Fridays, whether that's get my hair done or a massage or clean out my inbox. I'm a homebody. I have two beautiful dogs. I have an amazing husband. I love staying in. I'm very intentional when I go out. I'm extremely energetically sensitive. I can't just roll up to events anymore and feel normal the next day. So I shower, I do energy medicine, I do energy cord cutting and clearing. I really try and keep my frequency high. I don't drink alcohol. I eat really clean. I eat what I want, but I definitely have shifted my diet away from plant-based and salads to protein, red meat, healthy starches, minerals. I really honor the sacred vessel of my body as sacred technology. And is it perfect? No, but I definitely have a real regimen around how I try and stay optimized. I meditate, I walk. Walking outside is my meditation, my cardio. I have flower essences. I don't know if you noticed, I sprayed myself before we got started. I microdose psilocybin. I do all things. My energy high and my frequency high. It's my greatest currency is my energy. I would say I work like probably 30 hours a week, which sometimes even feels like a lot. And on like the 80 I used to run when I was building my agency. And I love a slow life.
So your mornings are slow. Like you do your soul work, your time with yourself before, like up to 10 a.m., and then you're more available after 10 for
I
others.
don't get on a single anything until I wake up around 6:30 and I take a good generous 3 hours to drink
Yeah.
my coffee, journal, breath work,
Yeah.
move, walk, listen to a podcast.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
similar to me.
Yeah.
I'm like no meetings till 11.
Ooh.
I'm getting a lot of messages on even slowing down more, which I was like, I've slowed down so much and I just got it again. I was just in Costa Rica for the equinox and it was like, you got to slow down more. We're going to play with this a little more. And I'm like, okay. Because it just feels like anytime I feel a sense of, oh, I got to be here at this time, it's okay, push it. Tell everyone 11. It's not
Totally.
11.
I feel like if you feel like you're moving too slow, you're moving too fast.
Interesting. Interesting. That's so good. This has been amazing. It's been awesome to get to know you and honor our time together. We'll have maybe potentially more drop-ins because you're very fascinating. And I think that there's going to be more that you're going to uncover and step into and probably be open to sharing even more. I'm sensing that. And so I'm sure these conversations will only expand. But I want to ask one final question. And I want you to imagine that on this earth plane, this is your final day on this earth plane in this timeline.
Hmm.
And you're looking out, and you can't even see beyond your eye all the people gathered to hear what you would say or what you would admit as your final time on this timeline, on this earth plane. What would that message be?
I just dropped in what Hathor told me in her temple Dendera when I was in Egypt, which was so profound and yet so simple and so true, which is the point of your human experience is to enjoy it. That every single second inside of a human body is a gift. And don't miss the plot. We get to have sex here. We get to eat chocolate here. We get to wear cute clothes here. We get to meet beautiful friends here. We get to travel the world here. We get to build a business, follow our purpose, make money doing it if we want to. Every single second of every single day of this human life is a gift, and we are missing it. So have fun.
Woo! Thank you for that message. Thank you, Hathor, for giving her that beautiful message that she's using as a mouthpiece to share with all of us. And you used the word gift, and I just want to say thank you for being a gift. I can feel your authenticity and your desire to only be of greatest use in the way you need to be here. And I just want to be that reflection. So thank you for who you are.
Sister, you in me is what you hold in yourself, or you wouldn't be able to see it. So I reflect right back to you. It's been a gift to meet you. I know this is the first of many conversations.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for being on the show, you guys, everybody. I will put all of her information below. You should check out her books for sure, her programs, her podcast, and I'll put all that linked below. And thank you so much, Jessica, for being here.
Thank you, Danette.
Thanks, you guys, so much for tuning into the show today. I love having you be a part of this family. And it was so fun to have a conversation with Jessica. I really try to make these conversations like two girlfriends having a coffee meeting for the first time and bringing us all into the conversation. Like we're all sitting at the coffee table. So thanks for being at the coffee table with me, the cacao table, whatever you prefer. And please go ahead and take a minute and share this episode out or follow. Go click that follow button up above. It'll notify you when we are dropping more episodes. I love having guests on. I love doing solo episodes. I love just being with you in your ear as you're walking, you're cleaning your home, you're driving from A to B. It's such an honor. So thanks so much for being a part of this mission.